What's going on, people? Welcome to Who Said I Was Right. I am your co-host, Denzel.
The co-host Deontay, who said I was right.
Who said I was right, man? So we're not here to be right, hence the name of the show. We just want to talk about things that are going on in the world around us and offer a different perspective, as well as, we're not always going to agree, but respectfully disagree and just show the world that this is how it's done. We're not like these presidential candidates who up here and just bash each other or just argue just for the sake of it. But
Not at all. Just want to have a real dialogue. Real dialogue. And we all know what that is. Everyone has a point. Everyone has a good point, a bad point, whatever, as long as it's arguable. That's what makes it what it is. Because again, who said I was right?
Who said I was right? And what we're talking about today, we got a couple of things for you. So we're just going to jump right into it. Number one, the Jeffrey Epstein list. Now, some of you may know about this story already, but my buddy Deontay here, he's got some information.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was saying to you in the pre-show, and I really didn't know who this man was until a couple years ago. Or when, when all the Hollywood stuff was going on and people, Jeffrey Epstein list, the island. I'm like, man, who is this man? I did not know that he was, first of all, he used to teach, if you didn't know.
Didn't know that?
Fact. Yes, he taught at the Dalton School in 1976, where he was actually, funny, he was accused of sexual assault. Well, not sexual assault per se, but he was accused of sexual misconduct even during then. So it's just, it was weird to me when I saw that, because it's like, so he has a history. This has been embedded in him for forever. And then I see that he was actually initially convicted of sexual abuse. I think the way they did it, it was child prostitution and soliciting a prostitute. That was in like 2005, 2006. Again, this is, what I'm saying, a history of it. And it's odd to me that, somebody could build such a life with those things hanging over his head. But I think it's just weird that it was something I was saying, after I got off work, got in the shower, I was thinking to myself, a lot of times these media outlets, when it comes to any crime, I wouldn't even call Jeffrey Epstein a celebrity, but let's just say big name, millionaire, billionaires, whatever you want to call them. Every time there's a crime out, there's a segment, there's opinions, there's bashfulness, but anytime it's about like a sex crime, everybody's real cautious about that. I think that's something that I don't think people really been paying attention to. And they just kind of, like I said, it kind of struck me because I'm like, anytime anyone is accused of any sexual crime, they got a tippy toe around it. Whether the facts are out or not, I mean, I get that. But at the same time, even when there are legitimate facts, it's still, we still got to wait on the rest of the facts, I don't want to bash nobody and blah, 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 blah. I don't understand that, Because especially NBA players, NFL players, or, domestic violence. Oh, man, don't be hitting on people. This stupid. But it's, like I said, when it's when it's a sex crime, we just going to wait on the evidence, even though the evidence is there. Because, like I said, even with Epstein, like it's 2005, he was convicted of, let me pull it back up. Yeah, 05 in Florida, surprisingly, yeah. Sexually abused 14-year-old daughter. So it's like, what I'm saying? It's a fact.
And when you have a history like that,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. But in 05, it was the investigation, but he was actually charged in 2008. He was convicted in 2008.
Or a couple of years later.
Right.
And then when you have a background like that, it's even harder to listen to what's going on now and say, oh, I don't think he did it. Who knows? Let's wait for the facts. Like you're saying, it's like, well, let's go back, some decades.
You know what I'm saying?
You
There's
know,
the
it.
facts.
Yeah, you
Uh,
you're kind of making it harder for yourself to prove your innocence. It's like, dude, you started off on the wrong foot, and
exactly.
you're here. We are later, and you're even.
It's
it's
even worse. I
yeah.
guess, and even I don't even think even adding the other celebrities that's on the supposed list, or that's not even a supposed list. It's a real list that's actually out with real names on it, and it's still we're waiting on the facts. But yeah, this if for those that don't know, it's a list of nearly 200 names of figures in business that are either associated or associated with Epstein's and his crimes or whatever
Mm-hmm.
on the
Or
island or wherever. Yeah,
people that were involved in the investigation or victims. So this is the thing that really took me for a loop here because everyone thought that the list that got released was it January 3rd. Um, everyone thought that that list was his client list, but that list is from a 2015 lawsuit involving his co-defendant, Ghislaine Maxwell, if I pronounce her first name right.
yeah, I
So
have
everyone's like, "Oh, these people are guilty. These people are no. This is not the list. This is just a list."
a list of people just affiliated, and you know how it is nowadays. You're just
Mhm.
guilty by association. Which brings me to my question to you: where's cancel culture at now?
I think it died in the Me Too movement, man. I think the Me Too movement was the peak, and everyone was getting their justice, and people felt like they had to walk on eggshells, and everything was coming to the surface, even if you've done something
Man,
decades ago. It was
see,
coming up, but
yeah,
now it's like I think it was kind of people were kind of burnt out. It's like, all right, we had enough. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah. I'll
when
say
it
they
comes to
didn't.
this, it's such a large scale. This whole Epstein situation, it's so large scale because you have multiple people involved, but everybody's kind of just like, all right,
Hot big names too. Not
yeah,
just that people were involved. These are big names that we're talking about, and
right,
it's like again, it's just odd because usually when someone is affiliated with something this major, they automatically cut ties. I mean, not to go way off top of like, anybody that's even if you're just accused, whether the facts are there or not, you can just the accusation makes you guilty automatically. We just got off of
yeah,
the Jonathan Majors situation where
mm-hmm.
just the accusation itself made him guilty. Granted, there was the evidence, blah 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 blah.
Which I
Evidence
think was
proved that he was
questionable.
guilty. Well, of course, because come on now. But that's neither here nor there. But it's just being guilty by association, or just being guilty by just being, that's your headline.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And it's just odd that again we're still just waiting on the facts for everybody to talk about. And is I
you
don't
know
know
what?
what more are we waiting for.
Maybe that's what cancel culture is now. It's not even actually getting canceled. It's just a headline. If your name comes up in something that's not desirable, and that's it.
Yeah. But I guess when worth $500 million, you can kind of do whatever. So,
Yeah,
or was worth because he committed suicide. So,
allegedly.
allegedly, allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, that's a whole nother episode, man. I don't. I'm still on the fence about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't. Did he? Did he? Because when you go to jail and people find out what you're in there for, especially if it's sex crimes and it's against children, someone's gonna do something to you.
but the thing too that I saw that so when he did serve the first one in '08, was it in 08? Yeah, the one in '08, I believe they were saying that there were reports saying that it was like 13. First of all, he only got 13 months. And 6 days out of the week he would serve it like in his office. So it's like, was he really in jail? Was he really charged for anything if he still had the freedom to go to work and do
That's a
whatever?
wild part, yeah.
You know what I'm
'Cause-
saying? That's why it's
yeah,
like, because one of the quotes I saw too. This was from Independent News. He said, "I'm not a sexual predator. I'm an offender. It's a difference. It's the difference between a murderer and a person who steals a bagel." So that's just kind of his thoughts on being charged as an offender. And I didn't realize, well, obviously by law there is a difference, but in the public eye, any sexual crime we automatically deem it as, oh, that man, we need to be away from that. He needs to be away from society. He needs to be on the
Mm-hmm.
list because it could be, because I guess like from what I've seen by definition, it's like sexual predators obviously are repeated offenders and they're like first degree charges. And then the sex offender is just sexual battery, child pornography, which I think should still kind of count as sexual predatory if it's child
Yeah.
pornography or child prostitution, sex trafficking. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Yeah.
like by definition of the law, yeah, I can see why someone would think that, but at the same time, it's still treated the same way. Because once you, like I say, once you get that label, you can't get that label off of you no matter what.
Nope.
Whether it is messing with kids or you just had, masturbating in a park or something like that. But still,
And
still viewed
indecent
the same way.
exposure. And not to
Indecent
get too off
exposure,
topic,
yeah. But yeah.
with my law enforcement background, I've seen situations where people, they've done their time, they've been on the sex offender list for a while, and they're approaching the time to where they're eligible to get off the list, and they're
Oh, so
working
there is a
so hard
time
to get off.
frame.
Yeah. You're not on it
Oh, okay.
forever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But it's it depends. But yeah, you can have the opportunity to have your name off the list, removed from the list. And they really try to have it taken off. Nobody wants that label.
But
But there are some people it's like, nah, dude, you need that label. There's
that's what I was
no
gonna ask
yeah.
you. Does it depend on the crime whether you can appeal it or not, or regardless, there's a set time frame where you can kind of like appeal to be off the list?
Yeah, there's a set time frame. You just gotta hope you stay alive long enough. It's a significant amount of time. There was one guy specifically I remember. It's been about 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and so his time was coming up. So
I guess roughly
yeah.
the 20-year mark. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's weird. Because I would have thought that would vary based on the crime itself. Because, like I said, indecent exposure, and you're on the sex offender list. Like, that's versus like child porn or sexual battery or procuring a minor for prostitution, like that kind of thing. Trying to get off a list for something like that versus indecent exposure or something like that. I don't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now, no, it could be different here. We're in two different places, but it could be different where you are. The local and state laws, but
Right.
yeah, in Georgia, yeah, it's in the area I am because it could be a different judicial system depending on what county you're at. So, not too versed in that, but the situations I've seen so far, yeah, this guy was eligible and he was on there for a
20.
good minute.
Yeah, obviously that has some effect on what you can and can't do. But again, when you work 500 million, what is a sex offender labeled?
Right, and you have all your connections. You have
Still,
your own island, dude. I mean, come on,
what's the name on the list mean? You know what I mean?
like the people on the
No pun
island.
intended.
Right. But it's like, is the people on the island not going to work for you anymore? Like, come on.
Exactly.
They may have their thoughts and opinions, and they may feel a certain way, but like these people. The thing that was interesting about that, like you said, he has millions of dollars. So it's like, how did you come into this money? There was an interview I watched on YouTube. Was this Alan Weinstein? I'm not sure. He looked like Harvey Weinstein. It could be his brother. I'm not sure who he was. I just happened to stumble across his interview, and he was talking to a guy on the show about the first time he met Epstein, and he had some pretty solid questions. He said, "How can you be this financier if you don't have any background to prove it? You don't have, where did the money come from? Like, how did you know these people?
Exactly, because again, he started off teaching, and I don't know. I mean, teachers, do their thing, but I don't know not a teacher that's worth $500 million. I mean, if they
No,
do that, hey, they know what they're doing. But he did do some banking and some floor trading stuff. I see, and it's like 76. But
and yep, and that's what the high Weinstein guy said. He said he was known for trading as well, and I was like, where's all this stuff coming from, man? Because I know a little something about the stocks, and I've dipped and dabbed into trading, but haven't became a millionaire. Like it's just very questionable about how he surfaced and how he was able to establish himself at that. But I think
man,
it's just a very good case of fake it till you make it.
could be. I mean, they do it.
Yeah,
They do it for show, and that's how they get to where they are now, allegedly. But
but yeah, and it's just a whole lot of. But I think this whole list situation was just some smokescreen because a lot of people, like I said before, believe that this is the flight list and it's not. Um, because there's some other things that are going on, like with P Diddy.
yeah, I was gonna say. So for for shits and giggles, let's compare the two. When Diddy was accused, or when Diddy was taken to court by Cassie, automatic, he's guilty because what he settled in like 12 hours. Didn't
Very
even
quick,
give
yeah.
it. Yeah, it wasn't even a fight. It was all right. You asked for it, you got it. And then immediately after that, maybe a week, that's when everybody started pulling out. He stepped down from Revolt. Other investors stopped, associating with P. Diddy. All the interviews on YouTube about P. Diddy, everybody, yeah, man, P. Diddy, man, he was a wild dude, was abusive to, you know, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, what about Epstein? Nobody interviewing her. No one's commenting about the things that he's done.
Yeah, you know what?
Not
Yeah,
even to
and
put it in a black and white thing, because I mean, there's predatory
yeah,
there's predatory business everywhere, and it's not tolerated.
everywhere.
But at the same time, I do see the difference in treatment because again, P Diddy. I mean, like I said, everybody that was affiliated with him has been like, yo, yeah, P Diddy was a wild dude, man.
Yeah,
You
they know
saw
about his parties
his parties, yeah.
and the
Just
the
recently,
grooming.
Cat Williams just recently said on Shake Club Shay, like, yeah, man, sometimes you gotta tell P. Diddy no. He likes to party, but it's just like with Epstein, ain't nobody saying, hey, Epstein likes to get down.
You know what? Yeah, you have
It's
not
not,
heard
or it's
that.
not like, yeah, nobody's sitting down in like a DJ Vlad type interview, like, yeah, man, let me tell you about this one time Jeffrey Epstein flew me out, man. We went out there, man. We was getting curtain. Like, nobody's doing that,
Maybe that's the cultural difference. Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, because the people who were on the list, like, now I gotta go back and look and see if the Weinstein guy was on there, and I'll put the link and attach the link to the episode so you guys can
Definitely.
view it as well. But
It's a real list.
yeah,
These are the
he
facts.
he only mentioned how Jeffrey made him feel. He just felt very uneasy meeting the guy. He was very questionable, but it wasn't like yeah, you could tell that he got down that way, and he tried this. Because even you remember Terry Crews when he was talking about how he was sexually assaulted. Um, it was
Mm.
the same. He's like, I was at this party, and the guy he grabbed
He
me.
ran up and groped me. Who couldn't, no
Yeah.
names. Because typically when something like that happens, everybody's ready to say a name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that his story isn't valid because he didn't say a name, but it's just like, yeah, again, it's just that cultural difference when it's a figure that look like this. It's like, yeah, man, they say his whole government name, first name, all his middle names and last names.
All the nicknames, the names he used to go by.
Exactly.
I mean,
You
you
know,
even have his former bodyguards coming out and
bodyguards,
talking. Mhm.
producers, you know, flings, everything, every little detail about P. Diddy is coming out. I guarantee you he's gonna have a Netflix series bigger than Epstein's documentary. He's gonna have like how R. Kelly had his
Uh-huh.
special. It's gonna be something like that. Probably 20 times bigger.
Called Take That.
Take that.
Um but
Messed up.
I know. I'm sorry.
No need.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be up there with Surviving R. Kelly and Leaving Neverland.
Other examples like these were just laid out in great detail and was talked about for forever. Everybody talked about it for a while, and it's like this one kind of came and went.
And everybody knew what was going on. See, this is the crazy part. Everybody wants to talk about how he was and, well, for P. Diddy, how he was and what they knew about him. Now, it was like, you guys were witnessing this stuff and you didn't say anything.
The whole time. Didn't say nothing then. Saying it now that it's out. But we are.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? And I don't want to put words in people's mouths. When I was watching one of my favorite sportscasts, It Is What It Is, I always wondered, like with Mace, his abrupt absence from music. I always had the conspiracy that it had something to do with something that was going on with Diddy. And he's like, you know what? Let me get on up out of here because this ain't for me. So it was a couple of episodes ago. I can't remember exactly the context, but it was something along the lines of them talking about retiring early. Yeah, it was when they were talking about Draymond Green retiring or whatever. And he was like, yeah, man, once I got there, man, I was like, you know what? I can't do this no more. And I figured, I was like, I wonder if maybe his retirement had a lot to do with what he saw. And he was like, you know what? Let me go cleanse my soul before it's too late. So he did it early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
God in his
and
life.
I don't want to speculate. I don't want to, throw him out there like that. But it's something I've always wondered.
Could be, man, because the stuff that I came across, I always knew of Jermaine Dupri. I didn't know he knew Diddy like that. And there was a lot of questionable stuff about Jermaine just as much as there were about Diddy. And it made it seem like they were both kind of in on it. So I don't know. It could be, man. It could be just a...
that realization, like, man,
yeah,
you know what? Maybe, I thought it was about this, but it turned out to be something else.
Like, I forgot the kid's name, the guy's name from Crisscross. The one, the guy passed away from an overdose, and they were saying that he turned to drugs because of Diddy and Jermaine. And it's like, sometimes people, or Orlando Brown. I mean, that's a great example. Orlando Brown.
Hope he's doing all right.
Yeah.
I know he's been up and down, but definitely hoping he's doing all right. Because I did see him doing better. But
yeah, it's like you can see him and you can easily say, oh, he's crazy. But it's like, no, he's talking about something. Yeah. Really. We need to listen up.
Or maybe something might be troubling him. And we just judging him we're judging him as if he has nothing going on. He's clearly doing something.
And he knows something. But yeah, just those examples right there. Just like with Mace, thankfully Mace, turned to God, and unfortunately some people don't. Like Orlando and the other guy that passed away, they turned to drugs, and that could very well be why Mace did what he did.
I don't know, but just I don't want him to ask. I don't want him to answer or defend. He knows the reason why. That's all that matters. And I don't want to. So I ain't trying to throw nobody in to speculate or answer questions that don't need to be. So I'm gonna just say it was conspiracy.
Conspiracy, like the Miami aliens.
Man, all right. So the one thing I want to ask you about that, because the thing about the story, for those that didn't know, it was a New Year's Day 60 policemen showed up at the Miami Mall for kids playing with fireworks, kids fighting with
Mm-hmm.
fireworks and sticks. With your law enforcement background, why would 60 policemen be in one place?
Actor shooter.
Okay.
In today's world that we live in, I think it frustrated me because I'm into the conspiracy theories. I think some of that stuff is believable, but thinking about this as I'm responding to this call to the mall, we live in a society today where unfortunately people walk into public places or go to public places and start shooting up the place. So when you're or if you're in the mall, you're walking around and hearing loud popping noises. You're not going to be like, oh, is that gunshots or fireworks? Probably gunshots. You'd be surprised the amount of people who can't tell the difference. So again, New Year
Yeah, I was about to
or
say that's the thing too, because I
yeah,
was like, and I'm not even trying to say, oh, I grew up like, but come on now, you know the difference when you hear the. Come on, man, because that's
right.
typically before it pops, you hear the whistling sound. So it's like you would, and then, I mean, even then, in an enclosed place, why are you playing with fireworks? That's odd.
And
But
there's also a visual stimulus. There's different colors that pop, like that's different from a gunshot, it's pop,
big time,
like,
exactly. You know the difference between magazine being aired out versus fireworks being shot in the air. Just a big difference. But again,
yeah,
people may not know the difference,
yeah.
so
But
they
a
associate the two.
good example. If ask any officer who's worked on the 4th of July or New Year, the amount of calls about discharging firearms or shots fired that you will get. You show up to the call and you're like, oh, it's fireworks radio. Never mind. Disregard. You'll be surprised. And I think that you're in a mall in Miami at that, and you're hearing these noises, and because we know what they say, you see black people running. You're just gonna run. You're not gonna
You
ask.
run, you run,
You're not
you
gonna ask any
run.
questions. You're gonna run. So you got all that going on. And then people were like, I can't believe they responded and only 4 arrests were made. Well, if you're a group of teenagers and you're doing that in the mall, when you see the cops show up, you're going to skedaddle. You're not going to hang around and see what's going on. So
Nah.
60 officers, most likely, most officers are going to try to worry about making sure in that situation, probably, hey, let's make sure these people get out of here. But another objective is like, hey, okay, we see these group of people here fighting. Let's break this up. And whoever
Right.
you can get your hands on at the time that you've witnessed commit an offense, yeah, that's what you're going to get your hands on now. Not everyone's going to get arrested. Like, perfect example, the people that like to go to the car meets, they're
Right,
doing
right,
donuts or stuff. They don't get everybody.
right. They only
So,
get what they only get who's stuck around.
yeah.
And but the thing too, okay, I'm gonna be the first one. I don't think it's an alien thing, but now that I'm thinking about it, where's the mall footage at? It's a mall. I'm sure there's 1,000 cameras everywhere.
Dude, nothing in the mall.
Nothing in the mall. The only footage we got was like from the police chopper.
Or
And
someone from like a high rise.
right, but even then, when they had that weird footage of that thing, I don't know if that was just some AI shit that people usually do.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people are nowadays. That's why AI. I'm really skeptical about it because a lot of people can play with that stuff pretty well. I mean, some of the stuff you can kind of tell, but other than that, it's like people won't know, especially when something is breaking the news like right now. And that's maybe the second or third link you see. Oh man, it's aliens. You might be a little skeptical because it's on the top 10 list of things when it's searched. Excuse me. But it's like no footage. And even if it was to be something like an alien or some extraterrestrial being, nobody? You mean tell me nobody pulled their phone out? And it's
Right.
a fight. This is a fight. If there isn't anything that I have seen more in my life than regular reruns on TV, I've seen more fight videos than reruns on cable TV. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if there was a real fight, fist fight, fireworks fight, somebody's pulling the phone out.
Especially if they're teenagers, they're going to record it.
Even if it's a gunfight.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know what I'm
Kyle
saying?
Rittenhouse.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right? Yeah. Any
yeah.
of the riots or press riots, uh, protests, when shit pops off, somebody's recording.
Hmm.
Nothing.
And you got nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I've even seen a whack video on TikTok, and now again, I'll put the link in. I'll put the link with this. They said aliens disappeared through the portal, and people were in the mall and they were looking, and it honestly looked like the Doctor Strange portal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like, and they just AI'd it into the room, and it looked like they were in a mall, but you can't tell if it's the Miami Mall. Maybe someone that's familiar with the mall can tell, but if you're just looking at it, you can tell it's in a mall, a shopping place,
Exactly.
but you don't know. But the portal looked like it was a Doctor Strange portal, like he just gave him just did his little thing there, and the aliens disappeared through it. But I was like, this just looks so fake. It looks so fake, and that's the only video in the mall that I've come across so far. And it's like, dude, somebody
Exactly.
had to
Somebody's
record this.
either that or maybe it really wasn't. I just don't understand. If it was nothing, why 60? Why 60 police? That's a lot of cops for nothing per
And
se.
none of them were because okay, let's just say this is the movies, right? And whenever there's an alien invasion and law enforcement respond or the army or the military responds, they get wiped out. No officers were killed. Not saying not wishing
Everybody,
that on anybody.
yeah, everybody lived to see another day. Went back home to their family like nothing happened.
Right. Nobody was harmed. You got 4 arrests.
And not even to say, because I understand, if the skeptical thing would be, or skeptics would think, oh, if we were to see extraterrestrial beings, the first thing they'll do is try to kill. May not even be the case. Because again, we don't know. The only thing we know about aliens or extraterrestrial life is what we see in movies and fiction. So it's like we wouldn't even really know what to even think they would do. Seeing us, shoot, we probably would be the first ones to act on violence before they do, possibly.
Man, they were
'Cause,
looking for sexy red.
oh, of course, of course.
They were there in Miami, man. They're looking for sexy red. That's what was going
You
on.
know what I'm saying? But again, man, I just don't understand 60 cops for nothing.
Yeah. It's a huge response.
Yeah. And I even if it were to be some type of false alarm, I just don't see how 60 cops, 60 cop cars pull up for a false alarm. I just don't see that.
Yeah, because at a certain point, let's say you get to like 20 and you guys can decipher what's going on.
Maybe even 10.
Yeah, at some point you're gonna be like, "Hey guys, disregard." Like we got
Somebody
it.
would have said, "All right, hey man, don't worry about it. Turn around or go back to wherever go back to what you were already doing." By at this point,
Yeah, but more showed up, and it doesn't make any sense, man. But that's the only thing I've seen, and I've seen a bunch of videos of people running outside of the mall.
yeah, right.
And people recording that was okay. You see, they're running from something, but you don't see where they're running. You don't see where they're running
Running
from.
from. I'm gonna say somebody thought this would have been a perfect chance to be viral, to go viral, get famous right quick, be a TikTok star, and would have recorded something. I'm just saying. Because everybody's looking for that opportunity, no matter what the situation is. Maybe, okay, obviously, maybe not in an active shooter circumstance, but even then, I'm sure somebody would risk it to
Yeah,
try
I'm
to
the one
have
that
that
recorded
moment.
it.
Exactly. For this one, it's just like, I don't know. But even then, let's just say, for the sake of argument, it was aliens. Why would you think they'd come now?
Yeah. Why not? And why Miami? Why the
Yeah,
mall?
why Miami? That's it. I
Like,
don't know.
you're not gonna go to Area 51? That's it. It's just
Where they got the rest of your homies at. I mean,
right?
I'd probably hit there, and I'm sure if there were extraterrestrial life, that I do believe that does exist, they have more than enough technology to figure out what to do, where to go, how to associate themselves in our society and kind of blend in. So I wouldn't even think a so-called alien invasion would even be, like you said, the only thing we know about extraterrestrial life is what we see in fiction. So I
Yeah,
personally believe, yeah, if it were to be a real alien invasion, I don't think that they would be their authentic self. They would probably look like us and blend. And it wouldn't even be an invasion per se. It'd just be kind of like a regular day. And
they're here.
maybe something odd would just kind of like, people might disappear or some weird things might go missing or something like that. But I don't think it's gonna be this. Oh, you see UFOs and stuff like that, and people getting sucked into the UFOs. And all. I don't think it's nothing like that. Because again, it's just the fiction part that we know.
And that could just be fear. Someone wrote that in the script or made a movie or TV show about it because it's like, well, if we're gonna have contact with extraterrestrials, and this is what they're gonna do, they're gonna be here to harm us.
Take over the
And that is
world.
a legit question. What would they do? Because like I said, why Miami? Like Area 51, Washington D.C. Like
I
we're
mean,
just
it
gonna
is
go where the power is
Miami at
at
night
night.
on January 1st. Like what really would be happening? I'd go to New York, Times Square, ball drop, all the people out. Perfect spot to hit. If I was an alien, at least.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They like the weather.
LA, Texas, or any of the major joints. But Miami. If it ain't summertime, I probably wouldn't touch Miami.
Because according to the movies, they're supposed to be out in the cornfields.
Right, and not by the beach.
Right. So that
So
doesn't make any sense, man. I don't know. I've seen some other things. Like speaking of people that's trying to capitalize on it, there was one guy. He sounded like he was from New York. He said he was visiting Miami out of town. He was there
I think I know which
from out
video
of
you're
time,
talking about.
and he was describing looked like shadow people. He said he was running with his girlfriend, and when he looked back, they were disappearing and reappearing closer than where they were from when they disappeared. And I'm like, there's a lot of people that are doing these. Oh, I was there and this is what happened, and I'm not from Miami, so here's why you should believe me. And it's like,
Again, anybody would fight to have that moment, but nobody recorded it. Come on,
nah,
come
nah.
on,
And it's like,
man.
I was wondering why would I record it. Like somebody's gonna stick around,
Right.
dude.
Like as much as I would want to say it was just nothing. Like I said, just that other stuff. No cameras. Nobody tried to record it. Only 4 people got arrested. Every officer was there and alive and left like nothing happened. Police chief dumbing. I mean, not dumbing it down, but downplaying every skeptic. So it's just like, man, something had to have happened for you to respond with all 60 squad cars.
Mm-hmm.
For you just to say, it was nothing. It was just some kids fighting. And even if kids are fighting with fireworks and sticks, like what does that even mean? Why would kids these days be fighting with fireworks and sticks?
Yeah, they don't even go outside and play and ride bikes.
But the first thing they do, hey man, meet me at the mall. Bring your fireworks and your best stick. I promise you gonna get the bit. Like nobody does that. I don't
These are
even think.
Miami kids.
Yeah, like I don't even
It's
Miami. Like ain't
like
nobody
saying
fighting.
Atlanta kids are gonna do that. Like these Atlanta kids aren't playing with fireworks and sticks.
No, I don't. Even when I'm out, like there are kids in my neighborhood, I don't ever see them pick up a stick. You remember how back in the day you find a stick with the hanging branch or something, like you treat it like a gun and you try to play with it. And, like nobody picks up sticks. I don't even think kids get switches.
Nah,
I don't, you know what I'm saying? So
they
it's
got the
like,
other switches now.
yeah, exactly. But like, ain't nobody playing with sticks, man. And I get it. People spend thousands of dollars on fireworks, but I promise you, ain't nobody lighting up fireworks in the mall or using that as a weapon to fight in the mall.
No, I definitely think there's something up. There's something that happened. Some people are saying that the Epstein list was to cover up what happened at the mall.
Right, 'cause
Um,
they did come out around the same time, or not around the same time, but they both were kind of brewing. Or the Epstein list was brewing, and then that happened. So it's like, man, it's something. Could be. I don't know if it's anything to do with overseas stuff, because they try to keep things on the low. Or
yeah, yeah. This is a mess overseas, man.
as
With
always, as always.
I don't know, man. It's I gotta go back and look at my notes from I took a it was a psychology elective, a class called Peace and Conflict. And dude, it made all the sense in the world. You can so one of our projects that we had to do was pick a conflict that was going on at the time and pretty much script or finish the ending to
Hmm.
determine how it was going to end. So at that time is when Puerto Rico had their protests and they were occupying all the streets and they were upset with the governor and they wanted him to step down. And I called it. I learned so much from that class. I called how it was going to go.
Mm,
And I got to pull up my notes, man, because
please, yeah.
but the professor he said that he loves what he learned from that class. He loves teaching it because instead of he's like instead of watching sports and getting drunk, he's like I'll have a drink and watch a presidential debate or I'll watch the news because he can see where it's going. He's like I'm over there screaming at the TV because he's like I know where it's going. And there's a lot of tactics that I learned in that class that happens in politics and world government all the time. And I'm like,
Yeah, definitely share.
it's at
Please
work right
share.
there.
Yes, please do share.
Yeah, so I'm gonna dig that up because I have it in Google Docs, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I gotta dig it up.
All I gotta do is what your school login.
Mm-hmm.
Still remember your school login? I think I still have my
That's the
Andrew one.
problem.
I think for a while I had the Andrew one because I think it was connected to one of the clouds that I have, and I still use that one to this email to this day. So fingers crossed you can find that because I would like to know about that.
For sure, man. And I did all my classwork on there, so I got other notes and for other classes that are very, very good knowledge.
Oh yeah, oh
But yeah,
yeah,
that could be for another episode, man.
definitely. Because I know, I mean, ain't this the year of the election?
Yeah, and we definitely want to do some episodes
Yeah,
about that.
we definitely should do something as campaign trails are starting to brew.
Mhm,
Definitely want to keep a heads up on that. We're gonna try to do some commentary on those things
for sure.
because I think we often get we just get it we just get it twisted with what these what they want to promise us with besides sorry, I'm messing up my words. When they do these campaign trails, it's like I get what you want to do. What are you going to do? And I don't think we ask that
Hmm.
enough or demand that enough as a people, whether you black, white, whatever. I know they say, black folks don't vote enough, but I mean, if we didn't vote enough, they wouldn't be trying to change it now. But
Right.
now it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, and I get it too. It's not just about the presidential debates. It's obviously the congressmen and senators and stuff. The thing about that bothers me is where do you find it? Where do you find out the information of these congressmen that are running? Like I've looked at newspapers, even when I was like living in Americas, I would go like when I went to I remember going to the dentist one time. I think I saw like it was like maybe a 2 paragraph column about a local senator running, but no like information. It was just what district they were in and their name pretty much and their background. That's about it. But it wasn't like, hey, this is the things that, whatever, whatever, or this is what the other guy's doing and this is what he's trying to change. Like nothing like that. So I know
Right.
everybody likes to
Yeah.
say, "Oh man, it's not just about the president. You got to vote for everybody else too." Ain't no information
State and
out there.
local, and yeah.
There ain't no
Um,
information.
yeah. It's
Not
like
enough
especially,
information.
and don't let the person be an incumbent. That's it's just like, hey, I've been here. No one's running against me. Vote for me again. Like,
Exactly. And that is sometimes, and that's probably what it is. People don't want to run because it's like, man, they got it. But no, we don't even know who's in. We don't know
yeah.
what they've done or what they want to propose or how they want to go about things. Yet
And
here
I
we
would
are having to
say
vote for these names.
that is my biggest message, especially when it comes to laws, because the amount of people that I have to explain things to, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're gonna arrest me for that? That's dumb," or "Oh, that's a law." I'm like, "Yeah, don't be upset with me. Be upset with Georgia law. Be upset with the person that made the law." do we even know
They
do
out
you know who
there.
that person
They
is?
exactly.
People don't.
You yeah. And you can definitely look it up. Look up them laws. I mean, hell, when I got my speeding tickets, I definitely was able to click on a link and it shows me exactly what the citation violation is, along with a whole bunch of other stuff driving law. It's actually pretty interesting and easy to understand. So it
Hmm.
ain't like it's not there.
It's there, just people don't know it, and
We just get emotionally invested when these things come up, and it's like, I mean, I feel you. You know, emotions are a natural human thing, but at the same time, it's these concrete things that are out here too that we got to use logical.
yeah. And I remember a conversation we had a while ago, and I remember you said something that when I thought about it, I was like, it really makes sense. You said just because it's a law doesn't necessarily mean it's moral.
Exactly, because laws are not about morality, and that's what we as people always mix up. We think that
Mm-hmm.
laws are based upon how we believe in something, and that's not true at all. Because if that were the case, anybody that shoots anyone would be in jail.
Yeah,
Self-defense or not, shooting somebody just doesn't seem morally correct. But of course, if you're defending your own life, then obviously it makes sense.
justified.
So you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
obviously the law's not written that way. What I do wish, though, I do wish that a lot of times when these things happen, I wish that that lawmakers would use that time when someone's convicted for any type of crime like that. They would try to find a way to modify it so that something like this doesn't repeat. Because I hate how, like, for example, like with active shooters, still refers back to the same laws that are written, but nothing's being modified about how to get it done. And I'm not saying the whole thing about taking guns away or whatever, whether it's background checks. No,
Oh,
I ain't doing that. I mean, that's a whole other. I know we got to do an episode on that too, but I'm just
yeah,
saying at the same time, we should modify these things so that they don't keep repeating.
yeah. And
And I think too.
unfortunately,
No, I
okay,
was going. No, I was gonna say, and just with modifying, like even with gun laws and stuff, I think they should do that with sex crimes too,
yes,
because this is, Epstein, whether it's Epstein, Diddy, R. Kelly, anybody, you know what I'm saying? We got to be able to
because
modify these things and stop separating. I get it, offender versus predator. Like, I think that those things should kind of mesh in a sense.
yeah, and unfortunately, the judge is going off of the precedent. So, like you're saying, if we're not making any modifications to these laws, the judge is looking at, oh, what did the last judge do? Okay,
Well,
we're just going to do that.
exactly, because at the end of the day, it's about what's written.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, what we feel is gonna dictate whether or not we feel like this person is more guilty or less guilty. But at the same time, what's written is what's written, and that's the thing we gotta understand.
For sure. But yeah, that's those are some good topics, and we definitely will cover those on future episodes to come. So if you're still here, thank you for listening. It has been a great show. I am your host, Denzel.
And I'm Deontay. And the main
And
question: who said I was right?
who said I was right? So yeah, man, make sure you go ahead and like, share, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. Nah, I hate that. I hate that part so much.
Like, share, subscribe. Click on that button down there. You'll
Really
be like
smash
that.
that like button. No, because if you like the content and you appreciate it, you're gonna like and subscribe anyway. So
Subscribe.
we're not
Continue
gonna
to hear what we got to say. Because again, we're not saying anything to make it concrete. We're more right than anybody else that already reports it. We share our thoughts. You guys can jump in the conversation too. Say what you got to say at the bottom. Comment on what we say. Call us out
yeah,
if we're more wrong than you are, because you might be
right,
wrong too.
right. And shoot, hop on. I'll send you a link to the show. You can hop on here.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Hey, man, it was a pleasure doing this episode with you, man.
Always, man. All right, y'all take care.
Tune in next time.